guys, welcome to my channel. My name is ReadingBear and I hope you are ready for some more stories. And today, we'll take a look at some new entitled people content. If you enjoyed my content, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and post some bear emojis in the comment. And now, let's dive right into the stories.
The first story is titled Male Karen Gets Upset at Me for How Long His Wait Is But I Don't Work Here. I have a relatively straightforward one to share. I work at a pizza restaurant that cannot be out-pizzaed. In the same shopping center there is a Starbucks that is very busy as we are at the intersection of two major streets that both have lots of commuters during peak times of day. So I was on my break and went over to Starbucks to get a free water because there's no potable water available in our kitchen. Since I'm not buying anything this time, I just stick my head by the window and wave to one of the on-duty staff who recognizes me and nods. They know I just want a water and will pour it when they have a few seconds of free time. Standing in line by the pickup window was a male Karen type. Slightly overweight, 6 feet tall, with a beer belly and a tank top. I went over to the corner near the checkout window and played on my phone for a couple of minutes. He got impatient and banged on the counter and told them to hurry up. Then he walked up behind me where I was standing off to the side of the checkout window. "Hey you lazy bastard. There's a lot of people waiting and it's really busy. Go back in the kitchen and help them out so I can get my order." I turned around to display my shirt and baseball cap with the restaurant's logo on them. In retrospect, I wish I had said something witty like, "I'm sorry I'm on my break, but I can have your pizza out in a few minutes." But all I had the mind to say at the time was, "Excuse me?" But at least I said it in a really dry, sarcastic voice. A couple of the people in line giggled at him and he went to the back to wait for his order. I got my water. He got embarrassed. A good outcome. The next story is titled Talk to My Boss. This happened last weekend. While I was only involved from the sidelines, okay, I may have started it unintentionally, I was there through the whole thing. The cast: me, tall guy, and Karen. I went to my local blue big box store to pick up a few grocery items. Not a big trip, but it had to be done. Now, I'm a short woman, 4 feet 11. And it never ceases to amaze me that most of the things that I want or need are always on a top shelf designed for people who are at least 5 feet 10 inches from my limited point of view. The only way that I can reach these items is if I have something long enough to rake it off the top shelf, or I use the shelves as a climbing wall. Considering that I am not a lightweight by any stretch of the imagination, I don't try climbing in favor of keeping the shelves upright. I swung down an aisle and found what I was looking for on the top shelf. Since the item was in a glass bottle, raking it off the shelf seemed like a disaster waiting to happen. I stood there for several minutes trying to decide if this was something I could do without when I spotted a very tall guy. Tall guy had his own shopping cart, was not dressed like a store employee, jeans, black button-up shirt, and no blue vest, and was looking at his shopping list. My interest was in the fact that he was towering at around 6 feet 3 inches. Me. I approached him. "I'm sorry to bother you." Tall guy had this look on his face like he's ready to say, "I don't work here, lady." Tall guy. "Yes?" I tried making myself as meek and apologetic as I could so that he didn't think he had encountered one of those people. Me. "Can I borrow your height to help me get something off the top shelf?" Tall guy grinned, nodded, and asked what he could get for me. I pointed at the item and without so much as a struggle, he retrieved it. I smiled politely and thanked him profusely for helping me. I put the item in my cart and he started to walk away. Then she made her presence known. She was about 5 feet 4 inches and had on heels that were easily 4 to 5 inches high, around 45 years old, pudgy rolls around the middle, and wore a blue sparkly dress that was at least 3 sizes too small and so short if she took a deep breath, we'd all get a view of her belly button. She honestly looked like she was going to nightclub, not grocery shopping 1:30 in the afternoon. "Karen. Now that you are finished with her," she said this while looking down at me as if I smelled like a week-old fish, "you can get these for me." Karen attempted to hand tall guy her shopping list, but he put his hands up and backed up a bit. Tall guy. "I don't work here. I was only helping get something." Karen. "Exactly. You helped her and now you'll help me." I swear she batted her eyelashes at him. Tall guy. "No. I helped her and now I am going to finish my own shopping." Karen rolled her eyes and tried to shove her list at him. "I'm not stupid. Of course, you work here. Why else would you?" Again she scrunched her face in disgust at me. "Help her." Tall guy. Do you really believe that people who work for a living are only working to serve you? Karen couldn't decide if she should nod or shake her head. I could almost hear the gears in her brain strain for a response. Karen. It's your job to do what I tell you to do. Tall guy. No, it's my job to do what my boss tells me to do, and not once in 14 years has my boss ever told me I had to do your shopping. Karen. Oh, yes, it's your job. You work here, so you work for me, and I am telling you to get these items on my list. Now. Tall guy stepped closer to her, reached in his shirt pocket where he had his white clerical collar, snapped it on, and plastered on the biggest grin. In that case, you need to get down on your knees and talk to my boss. I think the two of you have plenty to discuss. Karen's face went deathly white. She ran. Took very fast shuffling steps out of the aisle. I just stood there with my mouth open. Tall guy removed the clerical collar and tucked it back in his shirt pocket. Tall guy saw my amazement and adoration of what he'd just done and grinned. Oh, don't look so impressed. I'm not clergy. I do improv comedy with a small social group of friends. He patted his shirt pocket. This week's theme is church. I just came to get snacks on my way there. Me. Now, I'm more impressed. I so want to be like you when I grow up. Tall guy and I parted ways, and I didn't see him or Karen again. For some reason, however, I have this strange desire to watch stand-up comedy on TV. The next story is entitled Mom Tells Her Friends She Owns My House. For a little backstory, I live in a nice house. It's right on the beach and I take good care of it and my garden, so it's not strange to see people admiring my home. I'm also a teenager and basically live alone. My dad and mom both work in other states and travel a lot, and my sister lives with her fiancé. I can drive, do laundry, and can go grocery shopping, so this isn't too weird. I don't like driving, so I usually bike everywhere, and I have a pool in the backyard. On to the story. Entitled Moth Ek entitled Kinder Egg CF1 CF2 Confused friends court confused twins. Okay, so I just had a long day at work and had a few groceries with me on my bike. I just want to take a nice hot shower and I look like death in my fast food uniform. As I pull onto my street, I see a line of people blocking my driveway. Like full blocking. I pull onto the sidewalk and start walking my bike towards the group. And I overhear confused friend 1 talking about how happy she is for M and how beautiful her new home is. I'm like, what, no house nearby was sold or is even on the market. So, I try to pass to get to my garage. Me, hey, can I get past please? M, just go around, can't you see we're busy? Me, I just need to drop my bike in the garage and then I'll be out of your way. I'm glad you like the house, though I try to take care of it. Confused friend 1, I think you might be confused. M lives here. Me, no, this is my house. I live here. I don't know her. M, you are obviously trying to break into my house. Get away before I call the police. Me, no, you need to leave. M, I will not get off my property at this point. I just push past and head towards the garage. That's when I hear the splashing. No one should be in the pool. I drop my bike and run to the backyard and see 3 kids swimming in my pool. Duck that, I raise my voice and tell them to get the F out. The confused twins, CT, both get out but are obviously confused, but the EK stays in. Entitled Kid My Mommy Says I Can Swim. Go away, you idiot. Me, no, I am not responsible for you drowning. Get the hell out of my pool and off my property. M, don't talk to my angel that way, it's his pool. CF1 M, what's going on? Who is this girl? M, she is trying to rob me. Get the F out, kid. Me, I'm panicking at this point. Well, prove it, prove that you live here, huh? Confused friend 2 M, why don't we go inside? The kids shouldn't be here for this argument. Me, like hell you're going into my home. M, yes, we're going inside. Now go away, girl, before I call the police. Me, fine, I dare you to get in. The group climbs the stairs. Obviously M didn't think this through. Only 2 keys to this house exist. My key and my sister's. I lock up my bike, grab my groceries and push past M. She is making excuses to her friends about why the key doesn't work. Me, excuse me if you don't mind, I'm going into my home. Confused friend 2 M, what's going on? I close the door and lock it as M is banging on my door screaming about how she is going to call the cops. I called the cops, not her. She ran off as soon as she saw the cop cars and the friends stayed behind very confused. They explained that M had told them that this was her house and that they were just going to swim in the pool and then head to the beach, so they would never go in the house. I hope she learned her lesson. The next story is titled Lady Mistakes Me for Employee and Makes Me Come Late Back from Break. This happened to me 2 days ago when I was working in a small store. I'm a part-time employee and usually work just 6 hours a day, so I don't have a break. It was a very busy day and my team leader, I think you can call her manager, asked me to stay 2 more hours. I said yes, since it's more than 6h of work now, means I get an 1h break. When my break began, I walked out our store to get to the supermarket right next to us. It was a big one with smaller stores inside, including a bakery. I don't know if this counts as mall, but I just say supermarket. Usually I just get in and grab water and bread, but since I have a little more time I decided to stroll around and look for, mostly, candies and other things I can waste my money on. I came across an very chaotic looking shelf, and since I wanted something from that shelf I tried my best to make it look normal again. That's when it happened. A very loud, ahem, was heard from behind me and I turned around, only to see a lady who was around my height and more on the chubby side. Like almost everyone here, I moved to the side, thinking she wanted something from the shelf. "No, come here," she said, and I looked at her confused. "I need, item I forgot. Right now." I don't think I have to mention that she was very rude. I just looked at her, shaking my head, and simply said, "Sorry, I don't know." I'm not a big talker, and when a stranger talks to me I tend to stutter and trip over my own words, so I tried to sound relaxed. I wanted to turn around and walk away, but the lady grabbed my arm. She was surprisingly strong. "You don't know? You work here. How can you not know where, item, is?" Yep, she stared, yelling at me. That made me tear up a bit and I tried to free my arm, but it was no use. What I forgot to mention was I was wearing a tag from my store. It just simply said, "Store name, team, we will gladly help you out." My store where I work at and the supermarket store have completely different names obviously, and I pointed with my free hand at the tag. "Excuse me, but I don't work here. I'm on my break and just wanted to get some SNA, I don't care. I need, item, now. I have kids in the car and things that needed to be in a fridge." The yelling attracted some other customers and they started to watch. That's where I lost all strength to keep myself from crying and the tears just rolled down my cheeks. Gladly a man around his 50 came over and tried to calm the lady down, but it was also no use. My ears turned off and I was now only focusing on to stop crying. It got louder and finally an employee of the supermarket came over and asked what was going on. I tried to explain, but my sobbing made it impossible to talk, and the lady finally let go of my arm, which was now red, and walked over to the employee. This girl was very rude to me. I just asked where, item, was and she told me to duck off and flipped me off. I still don't know why people like those lie. You don't gain anything from this. The employee looked at me and asked if I'm okay. Technically I was, but I shook my head no, still sobbing and crying, which was very embarrassing. The man finally spoke up and told the employee what happened. Well, what he say and heard. Another employee come over and took me away, asked for my side of the story and tried to calm me down. My break was now already 10 minutes over. I just wanted to get out and go home. After some time I was now calm and tried to talk to the employee about stupid stuff to make myself laugh. While the lady was still yelling and was now demanding for a manager. I always thought things like this only existed in America, but I guess I was wrong. The manager came over and also asked what wrong. After that he went away. I assumed to check cameras, but I don't know. I looked at my watch and now I was 1 hour late from break. I looked at the door, being kinda paranoid that my coworkers might walk in and search for me, and they actually did. They saw me and asked what happened. First they were looking angry, but seeing me with red puffy eyes and an still angry lady next to the other employee, my coworker finally figured out what happened, went back to our store. The manager came back. "I'm sorry lady, but I have to ask you to leave. I just checked the camera and asked other people and it seemed like you started this fight." The lady tried to bark at the manager, but he continued. "Those people told me how this fight started and I have to tell you this. I, the manager, can guarantee you that this girl," the manager pointed at me, and the at my tag, "doesn't work here. She seems to work at the store next to us." I just nodded and he continued. The lady was now white instead of red and still tried to cause a scene. I got up and left my things in a basket and asked if I can leave now. The manager nodded while talking to the lady, so I walked out the store. I told my team leader what happened and got the rest of the day off. I couldn't concentrate after this and went to grab my things. Ready to leave, I heard sirens. I walks out and the next thing I saw was that the lady who yelled at me in the supermarket was now escorted out from the police. They actually took her with them. I smiled a bit and went home. The next day I went back to the supermarket and asked what happened. The lady became physical and punched the manager in the face. I saw him from the distance and he actually got a blue eye, and the police had to took her away. A friend of the lady came and had to pick up the kita that were in the car of the lady. I hope you enjoyed my story even if it wasn't that good, but I'm glad that I could tell this to someone who wasn't my mom. The next story is titled, Sorry, I don't work here. Yes, she does. I am lucky enough to live somewhere with 0 cases of COVID. Our day-to-day lives aren't really impacted at all. Now, to the story. Today a friend, colleague and I decided to meet for brunch at a cafe in order to go over the content we will be covering in the new school year, which will be starting in a little over a week. I arrived first and sat outside waiting for her. Summer here. A few minutes later she turns up. Note. She is wearing a black shirt and black shorts. She dumps her bags containing textbooks and laptop on the table. We quickly grade each other. She asks if I want a coffee. I say yes and ask if she can also grab water. We have bought each other coffees numerous times, so I didn't think I needed to clarify what I wanted. My mistake. She heads into the cafe to order. As she is leaving the table, an older lady walks into the outdoor area and sits at the table next to us. Less than a minute after walking inside the cafe, my friend sticks her head out the door and confirms my order. Naturally she had it right, but it was nice of her to check. Her head pops back into the cafe. It seems the older lady sitting at the table next door took note of this exchange and made an assumption. A minute later my friend exits the cafe with a large bottle of water in one hand and 2 small tumblers in the other. This combined with the previous order check obviously cemented the lady's previous assumption. The lady perks up and asks my friend if she could also get her water and take her order. My friend laughs kindly and said, I don't work here, but with what I am wearing I understand why you think I do. As a regular lurker on this sub I watch on with gleeful anticipation. Sadly I was let down. The older lady also laughs, and as my friend places the water and glasses on our table, the lady apologizes. I turned to the lady and with a big cheeky dickhead grin, observed, she does actually work here. I don't know why she is saying she doesn't. There is a pause. My friend looks at me. The lady looks at me. I know I am grinning like a ducking idiot. My friend exclaims and laughs, oh noes, why do you always have to make things so difficult? While, gently, swatting me on my shoulder. The lady, who is standing by this point, obviously catches on that I am being a duckwit, and says her husband is exactly the same, while also, gently, swatting me on my shoulder. We all have a laugh and move on with our day. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe to the channel and post some bear emojis in the comments.